is there. And I have the social pages up. And got that one, that one, and that one, and that one. That podcast post up twice, apparently. And then we need, okay. Wow, Facebook actually retrieved like almost the right title. It was only off by 2 weeks this time. Usually it's off by like a year and a half. I think it's because we update the hero image. It is. Okay, that's all set up. I will social us. We're otherwise ready to go. Is everybody ready to go?
I'm ready.
Okay. Social. Did I just do that twice on the podcast channel? No, I didn't. All right.
Do we have Linode this week?
That's an excellent question. I don't believe so, but let me just double check in Basecamp here. I believe we are Linode-less this week. Yeah, we don't have Linode. We do next week, though. All right. We are going to be recording as soon as I say now. We're good to go.
We're good to go. Oh wait, I need to update the cast. Nope, I spelled that wrong, didn't I?
Spelled what wrong?
Mark.
Me?
I don't know why. I can never keep track of who's Mark with a K and who's Mark with a C. It's very confusing for me.
It's not that hard for me.
I would imagine. Well, whatever. It is what it is. Let's do this.
All right.
Welcome to the Android Police Podcast, your weekly audio source for all things Android. It is Thursday, April 7th, 2016. I'm your host, Matthew Smith.
I'm David Ruddick.
I'm Liam Spratlin.
I'm last. Still Mark Bursteiner, though.
Yes. Yes, still Mark with a K.
Yes.
With a
still
K.
that.
Just gonna go and put that in the episode title list right now. All right. All right, I think we're done here, everybody. I've got the title of the episode. I think we just go ahead and...
Yeah, we can just... if you have any questions you'd like us to answer on the air, you can email us to podcast@androidpolice.com. Oh, sorry. We're not really ending it now, are we? All right,
No.
So actually, instead of ending it, let's start it. We'll start off with some icon news, apparently. So Google is rolling out new icons over the next few weeks, I guess, for all the Play app suite. And so they're basically triangles with other apps inside of them. It's the general principle.
I mean, I get what they're going for. It seems fine. I'm not upset by it. I mean, I'm sure Liam will have some feelings, but to me, anything that they can do to be at least a little bit more consistent would be stupendous. Because as it sits right now, I mean, you know what? As I'm saying this, it doesn't even really matter all that much because the Play icons were one of the few that actually were one of the sets that were consistent. So I suppose that's a moot point. But still, sure. I mean, they're icons. Liam?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like their post was about consistency, but only really internal consistency for the brand, which is fine. Yeah, I don't know. They look fine. My only concern is that like seeing like 5 or 6 triangles in a folder on your home screen if you're a new user might look kind of like spammy a little bit.
Yeah,
but
sure.
But I don't hate the icons.
Or they're all telling you to go right.
Yeah, out of the folder.
I feel like the icons are like living inside little houses with triangle windows, and they're looking outside. but the
That's-
irony is there a play button. They just want to go outside and play.
That's such an adorable image.
I kind of want to create an app that just has a name of play followed by something, so that it just, if you install it, it just breaks up the harmony of the 5 arrows in a row.
Play
That would be
trombone.
awesome. Play A, play E.
Play Aiken.
Oh my god. Why?
Wow, that reference. Very, very solid. Mid 2000s. Lots.
We might have been watching the American Idol finale this week, so I don't know. We'll see.
So I know. So this was discussed a little bit on Twitter, but can anybody actually identify what the Play newsstand icon is? Like,
I believe it is the world's purplest newspaper.
Ron and I were talking about this, and we decided that it looks like a Windows executable icon.
It does.
it
So-
does.
The app is all about Windows executables now.
It'd be even better if that square in the left was a gear shape.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
The newsstand icon has had a hard life. It's never quite looked like what it is, and it's hard to like represent newspapers and magazines and websites all in one piece. But
Yeah.
I mean, to your point, newsstand has also had a hard life, as has
that's true.
basically every other feed reader on the planet, save, I don't know, 2,
Google Reader, which
which we know how that
Yeah.
ended.
That had a hard death, not so much.
I don't feel like we should even talk about that on the show.
Google Reader. Oh, doesn't it just hurt your feelings so
Just don't-
deep
I don't-
inside?
I don't think
So
it should even be
betrayed.
discussed.
Speaking of betrayal,
Speaking of betrayal, I was going to use that transition. You beat me to it, damn it. All right, so this week there's a new Chrome dev version that has rolled out this week that has removed the option to merge your tabs. So you can no longer merge your tabs, which may at first blush not seem like a big deal. Except that this is kind of the whole point behind the Project Terra story that we had on the site several months ago, and it's just gone now. It's just gone.
just kind of gone. Well, I guess they have streamlined. Well, we've noticed that many users are unmerging tabs and apps. So we've streamlined removing tabs and apps significantly.
we streamlined it right out of existence.
so smooth, so streamlined.
I feel sad about this because it was such a big part of the Chrome redesign story, but you know, Google always has data that we don't have.
So
And I know-
I'm still confused as to which side got disabled, honestly.
Oh, the part where the tabs show up in your recent apps, that's gone.
Okay, so I thought it was the first time I read this, I thought it was the other way around, and that they removed the ability to turn that off. And
Oh my
now,
God.
I agree with you, Liam, because I am sad. I kind of had gotten used to that.
It was a really cool idea, but you know, Google always has data.
I turned it off immediately on every device I've ever used.
And like some people were saying, why don't they just like leave it an option forever instead of removing it, even if people aren't using it? But that's that means that you have a feature that you don't like internally that nobody uses externally that you
I
have to
believe
keep
We
working.
call that TouchWiz.
Yeah.
Hey guys,
Yeah.
remember Smart
Yeah.
Stay? Isn't it so awesome?
Am I the only one who used Smart Stay?
I don't know if I used it
Yes,
or
you
not.
are the only one.
I used it. I thought it was awesome. It's a
still
brilliant
there.
idea.
It's still there if you want to use it. It's
Is
still
it
waiting.
really?
It's waiting for you.
Where did I put my phone?
It's lusting for you to toggle it on.
Mark goes out to buy an S7 immediately.
I don't know. It's here somewhere. It's just I thought it was within reach. Oh, damn. I really need to use that. I love that
Yeah,
feature.
it might be
Right
disabled
now.
on certain carriers, but I know it's. Hold on, now I'm gonna Smart Stay. It's in the display options.
Wouldn't that also be like
It has that wonderful animation where it's like this is your eyes and this is the screen and thing.
I feel like that would also be a quintessentially Samsung thing to do. Like certain carriers don't have Smart Stay. Why?
Yes.
I don't know. Just because carriers.
So, can confirm Note 5 Smart Stay.
Yep, yeah, they all have it still.
with
So.
the same animation.
The only
Wow.
devices within reach for me are Nexuses and the wonderful, fabulous Pixel C, which I use every day.
I
So
love that thing.
fantastic.
It's so great.
So great. So great.
All right, so let's move on to some device announcements that happened to happen this week. There were 2 phones, well, technically 3 phones that were announced this week without a show. It's weird. Oppo announced the F1 Plus to start off with. So this is apparently a phone that was designed to look like an iPhone. I don't really know. Is there anything else notable to say about it other than it doesn't in any way, shape, or form look like an iPhone?
That you pronounce it wrong. It's Oppo. Now, excuse me while I go stand in a corner for 15
my
minutes
God.
and punish myself.
That's what I love about David. At least he's self-aware, but he still goes out on a limb. He's got to let you know.
So many limbs. This is the Oppo 1A9. It's not even the Oppo iPhone. I mean, the
No.
camera's like the iPhone kind of, but it still has it has the nipple. So, I don't know. I didn't even watch the video. It's some dude in a mountain. I'm like, oh, it's an Oppo video. So I don't know. He's gonna discover himself, and the phone's gonna help him do that or something on it. Maybe he falls in love with the mountain. Maybe the mountain doesn't return his love initially, but then the mountain, starts to see him for the person he is.
Yeah,
I mean, I would watch a movie about this.
I would too.
I just want to say I feel like they're treading on new ground with their promo photos because they didn't explode the camera, they exploded the home button.
Yes, I posted the home button, but I was
I
hoping
saw.
for a camera.
Yeah. Look, I mean, what makes me the saddest about devices like this is that Oppo has made great devices in the past. Like, they've made devices that we don't hate, that I don't hate at least, and they're the parent of OnePlus, and the OnePlus X was a beautifully crafted device. I really, really enjoyed that device. I see you laughing, Liam. I see you. But what makes me so sad is that this is not even remotely. It's not even trying to be different. Like, and that's what bothered me so much about the A9. This is you're just regurgitating the same thing that's popular right now, and they go even so far as to replicate like Apple's promo photos that just look and feel like this falling one where it's falling into this like weird hand.
I don't even recall Oppo's UI being quite this blatantly iPhone-y.
No, and it wasn't at first.
I mean, it was kind of iPhone-y, but it wasn't that iPhone-y. This is like...
Blatant was the operative word, right? Like, that's really what's changed.
Okay, so does this work? Like, why do people do this? And by people, I mean companies.
I don't know, China. Can we really understand China?
I think it just
wanna know,
really,
like,
really works in China, dude.
Yeah.
it does.
The iPhone is kind of I don't know how far I want to push it in terms of importance, but it is kind of a status symbol thing there, and, I think that it's, well, you can have the iPhone, but then you can say, my iPhone is
But like,
Right.
than yours.
But like, I don't want to have a fake status symbol. I don't know. I'm just very confused by this whole thing.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I would never.
I think they have a very different sense of value and sensibility when it comes to design and industry, right? Like, I think China just operates on a very different wavelength than any of us do in terms of how we view technology. To them, I think it's a little bit more utilitarian, and I think most of the Chinese companies, or at least Far East companies, Huawei, looking at you, in terms of software, they see the success of Apple, and they go, cool, well, we can just do that too. That seems to work. It seems to be what people want. I don't think they see it as we're going to be so... I think that it seems way more of a utilitarian and sort of businessy move. And I think if someone were to take the right position at the right company, they could definitely be steered out of that. I thought that's what Hugo going to Xiaomi was going to do, but that's not where we ended up.
Yeah, Hugo just ended up kind of being the person who speaks pretty passable English at Xiaomi and
Right.
guy at the presentations.
I just
I'm sure he does more than that. That's really mean, but that's how it feels. You know, their UI is still so whatever, and outside of China, their services don't have much value. But they're talking about Xiaomi now.
Right.
Oppo controls, outside of China, they're not really a player at all. But in China, they're huge. They're so huge in China that they line up on like the global smartphone shipments in the top 10 pretty much every time. So they are massive in China, and they do some, it appears they do some legitimate, engineering. Their quick charge stuff, Oppo Voke or whatever it's called. Charges phones really, really, really fast. But again, the phones are so China-centric that, I think they have marketed a couple like fashion handsets
Right.
outside China, like the R series or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
which aren't very good phones. I had the R3, I think, and it sucked.
Yeah.
But it was kind of pretty, I guess, in a very iPhone-y kind of clean, clinical way. But
Right.
yeah, this phone is, it's just meant to compete with other phones in China. It
Right.
doesn't seem like it's meant to compete in the West at all.
I'm just nervous for more and more devices to come to the U.S. And as we start getting them, I think we need to send a really loud and clear message that UI has got
They could never sell that here. They'd get
no
sued.
way.
No, they'd get sued. No doubt about it. Apple would be
Absolutely.
all over them.
True.
It wouldn't be a question even. It's part of the reason. God, what company am I thinking of here? Actually, it's Xiaomi, because Xiaomi used to make iPhone clones. Like that was
Right.
their thing.
That's where they started.
Yeah, and now they make not iPhone clones. They make a parallel to iPhones.
Right.
So, yeah, and that's so they can hopefully eventually sell outside China. Probably that's probably a big reason they stopped making iPhone clones.
Well, Matt, I think there was another device that got announced, correct? Also
There did.
from that area.
Yeah, Huawei had two phones, the P9 and the P9 Plus. Yeah, both announced this week with a 5.2 and 5.5 displays, 1080p screens. But I think probably the most noteworthy thing is the camera, which I don't even know how to pronounce it. Leica dual lens camera.
Right.
So apparently it's going to take better photos than you've ever seen before.
And that's thanks to a copious amount of co-engineering.
Leica certified.
So
Like,
much co-engineering.
So much co-engineering. They've been co-engineering forever.
Oh my goodness, I'm actually frightened of how much engineering they've done. Is that the same amount of engineering that LG did with Bang & Olufsen for their fantastic little friend?
Yeah. So what Huawei has said at this point basically is, so when Vlad Savov at The Verge asked, like, okay, so what does this actually mean? Huawei is like, it means that it was co-engineered with Leica. And he's like, but what does that mean? And they're like, it means whatever you want it to mean. There were some Huawei people saying that there was some co-engineering that happened on the tuning of the image sensors, and then some co-design on the lenses. But all of this basically comes down to, well, we probably paid Leica a lot of money to say yes about something.
Right.
Like,
I find it unbelievable. Like, what is Leica known for?
Cameras.
they're
Right.
luxury. That's what it really comes down to.
Okay, so what part of a mobile phone camera did they contribute to that makes it objectively amazing?
I would love to. It's funny because in certain industries, companies are very eager to tell you, like, oh,
Yeah.
we did this and this and this, and it's like so amazing, and without them, we couldn't have done X and Y. Whereas in smartphones, it's like, well, we can't tell you because it's so secret and important.
But we have the name, and it's
Yeah.
it's all over
Right.
our press materials.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's the problem, is basically, so I wrote this editorial about this that honestly wasn't all that popular, but I just want to push home this issue that putting somebody else's name on your product, especially in smartphones, should be a red flag just immediately.
Completely.
Because when it comes down to it, think about it this way. Apple, the most valuable company in the world, can't make an appreciably better smartphone camera than Samsung. or really a camera that's all that much better than LG's, or really a camera that's really all that much better than Google's, and Google really doesn't even spend that much money developing Nexuses. Like it's like a pet project for them.
Right.
So when you think about it this way, you have to understand that by Huawei saying that this Leica name means something, they're basically saying, oh yeah, Apple over there, whatever. We got Leica, a company who has never designed a mobile camera, who doesn't make mobile imaging sensors, doesn't make mobile lenses,
Right.
and who has never made a smartphone camera. Yeah, they definitely cracked the code on this one.
But it's Leica.
They got it. And that's so ridiculous to me, because basically you're saying that, well, all these super valuable companies that basically their lifeblood is maximizing performance on this stuff can't do what, well, we were magically able to do with partnership. And you got to understand that there's, even if it's not completely bullshit, like the majority of what you're hearing there is bullshit.
It's a lot of spin. It's a lot of marketing speak. It's a lot of like just very look. If you pop and look at like LG, the one we're talking about right now, the P9. If you look at the ones that are doing it, basically all of the brands that are doing this right now are effectively using a giant "Make X Great Again" stamp, right? Like, so right now Huawei is saying make camera smartphones great again, Leica, right? LG is going make smartphone speakers great again, Bang & Olufsen, and whoever HTC is going to have partnered for with their camera or their speakers or their display or whatever magic thing it is that they're doing. That's all it is marketing speak. It's worked for other industries before.
But the other part of this, like the other half of this, is what does a brand like Leica hope to get out of this besides licensing money?
Money. That's
But
pretty
they-
much it.
Yeah.
So, but like this is not a positive brand move for them, right?
But the thing is, so when it comes
cares?
down to brands, like they have their channels. So by putting the whatever Summit lens like brand on there, saying, oh well, this is like the Summit line, which is for peasants.
Yeah.
It's like who cares? We'll put our name on it, but it doesn't mean our name is on it.
Right.
It's the sub tier of Leica. And so I'm sure that's what their plan is, basically, assuming they don't have a exclusive deal with Huawei. They plan to position the Summit lens as their mobile lens. And it basically comes down which brand that is part of your brand are you willing to put on the sacrificial altar for a bag full of money?
Right.
And
And then
they chose this one.
and then the recipient of that deal just makes the font size larger on Leica. And
But I mean, I gotta
Yes.
be honest. I don't think it's that big of a bad investment. Like, I don't think they're throwing their brand to the wolves by any
I don't
means.
think so at all.
No,
either.
dude, are you kidding me? From Leica's perspective, this is a no-brainer. I mean, it's hard to argue with minimal involvement, an enormous amount of time that consumers are staring at your brand. Your name is being used to make something seem great. It's seriously a no-brainer, because that's one component to get right or mess up. All they have to do is make sure the camera doesn't suck.
Yeah.
If the rest of the phone sucks, that's still on Huawei.
Yeah, and then with Leica, I mean, their only real dilemma probably is, well, I mean, how big are the bags of money? I mean, guys.
Right.
Exactly.
I think that's the
So-
biggest motivating factor, because I can't imagine. I mean, I don't know what the overlap is going to be between people who are like buying some random Huawei phone and people who are just like looking so forward to buying Leica cameras. I would not
So-
consider buying a Leica camera right
And,
now.
and the thing is here, it doesn't mean that the P9 has a bad camera.
No,
Like, that's
not at
not
all.
what it means at all. It could have a great camera. It could be like appreciably better. Maybe Huawei with this second monochrome lens and sensor, like have discovered something. There's not a monochrome lens. That's stupid. Why would I say that? Monochrome sensor and the lens. Maybe they really have discovered a way to make images appreciably better this way. I don't know. I haven't used it. Our guy Phil in London, or he's in the UK. He doesn't live in London, I don't think. Maybe he does. I don't know. I understand British things. But he has the phone, and we'll see what he thinks of it. I'm curious to try it, but I don't think Huawei's going to send us one. So it could be great, but I think the whole Leica side is, again, especially in China, I think there is this, Leica is seen as this very special, coveted, it's kind of a precious brand. Oh, well, if you have a Leica, that means that you get it. You understand photography.
Right.
It's a fashion statement as much as it is
I think it's like that here too.
it
Honestly.
is, but I think
Yeah.
people maybe in America probably give less of a shit. Whereas in China, the luxury brand culture is a very real thing. In America, it is a thing too, but I think in China, there's, especially in metropolitan China, there is that that real oh well, he has that, so kind of thing going on. So I mean, from a marketing standpoint, like, yeah, sure, it's a good move, but at the same time, it's just like the B&O attachment for the G5, which I think is just a snake oil box.
Right.
What I would say about this kind of stuff, you have to understand when you're being marketed to. It doesn't mean that the product is bad, but it means that you have to move away from the name, anytime you see this kind of thing. And I think Huawei may well have done something interesting with the camera, but I think they understood the best way to sell this without getting called a gimmick was to co-brand, and that way they could attach the gimmick to a reputable name, and it made it harder to criticize.
Right.
So yeah, the P9 could be a very good phone. I have not liked any of the previous P series devices. This seems to be the most appealing one so far.
Yeah. And on the heels of the 6P, and honestly the Mate 8, which I think is a phenomenal device, barring the software, I'm excited to see what a P9 would look like.
Yeah, I would say that most of the previous P phones have basically, there's this kind of category of phone in China. They're fashion phones, which is what the F1 is too. These super slim, very stark, minimalistic devices that are just meant to push the thinness and kind of chicness envelope as far as possible, I guess. Whereas in America, I don't think we really have that outside the iPhone. Samsung's doing it a little bit now, but even then, they're doing it a different way. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to less recently announced phones. So LG G5, of course, we've talked about it on the show at length. David and his affinity for all of its friends, and it's just solid build quality, and I think are pretty well known to our listeners. But so we had some interesting things this week regarding, first of all, the metal frame, which initially seemed might be coated in plastic after somebody scratched away at it with a razor blade. Now it appears, according to LG, that it's a primer. Apparently they've dipped the phone in primer before shipping it out.
So
yeah.
I want to know, okay, I don't think this really matters all that much, but I also think that LG's spin on it is basically like, it's much like what they've done. They painted it a particular way, and I think the paint is quite substantial.
You're taking the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say this is an analog for how they've been handling it and what the device, like how the whole device feels. Like it, I only got it on Monday, but it just does not feel good. It feels bad. Like, not just like, oh, not the best, actively bad. Like, more often than not, I find myself getting like weirdly clammy, and there's like a weird slickness issue that happens with whatever this coating is, and it doesn't feel good.
Don't you usually put primer on before you put something else on?
That's normally the process, yes.
I feel
Yes.
like, though, is there something on top of it? Or is it basically like, it's
No,
not
there's-
plastic,
yes,
it's
plastic.
schmastic?
They call it a microdizing layer,
Right.
which is a fancy way of saying it's some paint with metal particles in it to make it sparkle.
Right. So technically, you're touching metal.
You're touching metallic particles. So there's metal. There is, looking at the periodic table, elements that are
Correct.
constituent to the paint that fall in the metals category versus the non-metals category.
This is the stupidest argument I've ever heard
It
from
is
any company.
exactly. So it's like, can you just fucking say that? Okay, we had to coat it in this thick layer of epoxy, which is essentially is what it is, and then we painted the epoxy, and underneath that, it's all aluminum. It's an all aluminum body. It's just covered in this kind of you know, material, and that's what it is. Whereas
So
LG's, he's having to push this net metal, 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 metal narrative, and just say what it is.
just
Just
say
own
what
it.
it is. Just say what it is. We wouldn't even be having a conversation about what it is had they not been weird about it. But then again, maybe that's what they're going for at this point. Maybe they're steering into the spin.
This is what they
Because,
want.
yeah, this is what they want because I can't see any other reason to talk about the device. To be perfectly honest with you, I was talking to my wife about it the other day. It's perfectly fast. I can't get it to stutter. The performance is there. It's fine, but it gets pretty hot. The camera's really nice, but in terms of a build, the build is bad enough that I can't see why you would spend the asking price on this device over other things on the market. It just does not add up.
Yeah, and I think that's part of why they're getting upset about this whole, non-controversy. The phone's built the way it is. Like, I'm even the way LG's done it has advantages even. Like it's
Totally.
probably less likely to visibly scratch because it's painted.
Right.
And it's probably less likely to have like major dents because you've got this epoxy layer under there that cushions, when it falls and stuff. I'm sure there are advantages to the way they've done it, but yeah, they chose to, engage controversy. That said, I will admit that the company or the body that posted the video, it's like a YouTube channel, and they were the ones that did the Nexus 6P bend test, which was kind of bullshit
Right.
in some
Which
ways.
was total bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. So I will say that it was very obvious that the people who posted this video wanted to make a big deal of it, and that was their goal. They had a narrative that they were very much trying to push, and we didn't try to engage it in such a way that it was trying to say LG had done wrong, as much as point out that hey, yeah, LG probably did it a little different than most other companies do it, because most when you have aluminum, the typical way you do it is anodizing.
Right.
Or you have a glass back, which doesn't involve the aluminum anymore. It's a glass back, and then you put some foil under it. Anodizing is a dyeing method, and you use acid and then like an electrical current, I think. And it eats into the aluminum essentially, and the dye actually blends with the aluminum at some level. It also coats it, but it really gets in there. And it also doesn't create a significant, increase in thickness or a layer on the device that you can, depending on how long you anodize it for and what color it is, etc. Varies the anodization effectiveness. But yeah, so it's very different from anodizing a phone. Basically, is what I think we wanted to convey. It's a different process.
Right.
And it's one that's going to make it feel less like metal, which is why the G5 feels like plastic.
And it hella feels like plastic. Wow. Like, everything about it from, it's not just the frame. I don't know if you noticed this, David, but the button is so clicky in an unsatisfying way.
Yeah, I don't like the way they did that. I think I just would have preferred a side-mounted side-mounted power button at that point.
Same. I'm not a fan of the placement, and I'm also just like the button itself, the click. It feels like a cheap. It like almost wiggles in its seat,
Yeah, I didn't like it. That was actually, I had this weird not likeness of the power button on the phone.
Same.
I think that was partly because when I would use it on my desk, like turning it off means we have to double tap the notification bar apparently, which I didn't figure out until after I reviewed the phone.
That's when I figured it out just now when you told me.
Yeah, so that was kind of annoying, but yeah. So, moving on, we have this on the sheet about the LG's home screen after, and I think we covered that. Oh wait, no, we didn't. I'm thinking
But wait, you guys, isn't the app drawer totally disappearing everywhere?
everywhere. So this is an interesting story because what LG did, so they announced it at MWC without the app drawer, and I swear to God, I had a presentation in front of me that said they removed it because it reduced cognitive load on the user's brain, and which is hilarious. I love
I
that.
take issue with that
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, maybe if I don't even want to go there. Like, I'm not sure in what universe this benefits the user
Everyone knows that having a random smattering of apps all over like 80 different home screens is a lot harder to, is a lot easier to recognize than having all your apps listed alphabetically in one central
Yeah, I
location.
mean, everybody knows that it's much easier to put your books all over the fucking floor instead of a bookshelf.
Turn
because
off bags. Much
Bookshelves
easier.
are bookshelves are such
Same
high
advice.
cognitive load devices.
I cannot wait to use that line because so my wife is one of these proponents. And this is who I think that they're doing this for. They're doing this for the people who are coming over from iOS and are a little bit resistant to change and are going to need a little bit longer to kind of come around. You can always modify it. You can always add Nova. You can always add the app drawer back. But for lots and lots of people, they just want to keep doing what they know, and maybe they'll learn it eventually, but they just want to keep doing what they know. And like I said, my wife is still one of these people. She has an app drawer, but the way that she uses her phone, she leaves everything on the home screen anyway. So you better believe.
You know, that's so funny because, when my girlfriend switched from an iPhone, which she had for, at that point, I think she'd been using iPhones for like over 4 years, and when she switched to an Android device, like the app drawer was something she immediately embraced.
She loved it, huh?
Yeah, and so it was really app drawer and folders, and so her home screen is like naked. Like it has like 5 folders and then one main app,
Yeah.
and then that's it. And I'm like, how? Because I can't even live like that. I have to
Yeah, I
have some
know.
icons on my home screens.
Same.
So I think it depends a lot on the person, I guess. But I see. So that explanation makes perfect sense to me that they want to cater to iOS users. But the fact that they won't say that is what makes them seem so stupid.
What I really wish LG had done in terms of software is instead of trying to make all these decisions and tell us that it's all about you. I have this green box that you gave me, David. They're all like, oh, their new brand, the UX 5.0. It's so you. Enjoy it. Look, if it's so me, like do something at least a little bit. I don't want to say innovative, but at least to move forward with software. Ask me when I'm starting up the device. Ask me what platform I'm coming from. Am I coming from another Android device or am I coming from iOS?
Wow, that's actually a remarkably good idea, almost.
Like, there's no reason
I'm
why.
almost okay with that.
Right? Like, just ask me. It's a perfectly reasonable
Liam,
question.
what do you
to
think
ask.
about this? Should we have Android devices that ask you, are you coming from an iOS device? Should we optimize for your experience?
No. And I'll tell you why.
Tell me.
Because I feel like in situations like this, like for the launcher or something you're going to be using every single day, I don't know. I feel like it's a lot stronger if you make like strong design decisions that are actually the right decision versus
Right.
having 2 things that are possibly the right decision and then having the user choose on their own. I don't know.
This is another conversation for another time. And Liam, I just want to do a separate video just on this specifically that you and I can talk about and hash out and do a video on because I think that we're at a really fascinating turning point because AIs are getting smarter, and as algorithms get smarter, our phones get smarter, and then it stops being a matter of the designer has to make the right decision from the get-go as it goes out the door and starts being a matter of what you kind of talk about. What do you call it, Liam? Not
Mutative
modular
design?
Mutative design, where the UI adapts to you as you learn, and it's no longer a matter of being stuck with what you set up when you set up your device. If the device were able to have a more human conversation with you, it would definitely be able to adapt to you a lot better. And I think that if we start moving towards things like that, we future-proof ourselves a bit more.
Yeah, I agree. There are still decisions that have to be made, though.
So, but the
Totally.
news that we were going to talk about was that LG, after everybody, once LG said the G5 wasn't going to have an app drawer, the internet had like a collective aneurysm, and then LG was like, oh, never mind, we didn't say that, what? And, but at the same time, they did say that, and so what they're doing is the most, it doesn't help. So basically, LG's saying, they're just providing lip service to everybody complained about this. So what they did they release an update to the launcher that lets you turn on the app drawer or turns it on by default?
That would make too much sense.
Oh, that'd be too easy. Did they maybe just add an app drawer like in a silent update? No, that'd be silly. No, they released a new launcher in LG Smart World, which is an app that statistically no one will ever use, and you have to search for this launcher download it, and switch your launcher to the new LG launcher, which has an app drawer. The LG Smart World app, by the way, is objectively terrible. It is slow.
Oh, yeah.
It is unintuitive. It is broken. It is clearly not optimized for Android 6.0 at all. It's like one of the worst apps I've used in recent memory, and I legitimately mean that. Like, it is a terrible, terrible app with so many things that are broken. This is basically LG just saying, well, screw you. You know, you can have your stupid app drawer there. Are you happy? And it's like not even actually solving the problem. It's just them having an out to what people said. So
anyone who's going to go and get this app or go and get this replacement launcher, anyone who's going to go and do that is already on Nova.
Exactly. Everybody who's done this has already got another launcher anyway. Why would you do this? So LG is basically saying, no, we were right, but here's your stupid thing that you wanted, stupid person, and that's what they did. So it is a non-solution to the.
I think we're missing the most important detail is because this is hidden away in LG's App Store and nobody's going to download it, which means that when the LG G6 comes out and they release it with no app drawer, they're going to point to the fact that nobody downloaded and installed this app as the reason why they don't need app drawers going forward.
Oh boy, my brain's going to explode. Let's talk about something much more, something that reduces cognitive load.
Yes. So Domino's, correct me if I'm wrong, was Domino's the company that had you ordering pizzas from your watch at the original Android Wear demo?
Yes, and this is exactly what I was talking about before we went live, and I mentioned it in a video on Android Wear that will be going up soon. I still use it. I use the Domino's app to order what they call pizza, what I call an emergency.
Yes. So, anyways, they've one-upped themselves this week. They have a Domino's zero-click app. So you I'm assuming at some point in time you go through an initial setup on this app to tell it what kind of pizza you like.
So you have like a saved order, and then when you open the app, it just orders that, which I think is terrible UX. It's like a great marketing scheme, but actually the app is like a really tremendously bad experience.
I could very easily see like children ordering pizzas with their parents.
So there's
phones.
that, but there's also like, if I open an app and it does something like order a pizza which involves actual money and like real pizza that's coming to my house, like I feel uncomfortable about that.
I saw a bit fairly recently on Reddit that compared having a child to ordering a pizza, about how if you've never had a child, you can't know anything about being a parent. And the comedian talked back to the heckler and was like, when was the last time you ordered a pizza by accident? And the first time I saw this article, I was like, oh my god, now it's possible. We can accidentally order pizzas, and now it is just as easy to get pregnant as it is to accidentally order a pizza.
Well, we've determined you know nothing about children, so what do you know about pizza?
Exactly.
So this is really weird, but I changed stuff in Nova a lot to like confuse myself and test
on purpose?
like, muscle memory and stuff. Yeah, so like I changed my app drawer icon to be on the far right of the screen and stuff. Anyway, point being, I accidentally click on app icons an embarrassing amount. So like I cannot install this.
Yeah, well, it gives you a 10-second timer to cancel the order, but it doesn't look like it's very good at illustrating that like you have the opportunity to cancel. It's just a countdown.
Well, of course.
Something's going to happen in 10 seconds. What could it be?
10 seconds till pizza.
I'm just gonna do that to my wife. From now on, whenever we can't decide on dinner, I'm just gonna hand her this trick app. Basically, she'll open it. She'll be like, "Oh, you want Domino's?" And then 10 seconds later, a pizza will have been ordered already.
Okay, I just thought of a perfect app idea. So Urban Spoon, if you're listening, the Dinner Spinner app should do this.
Yes.
So you get on Urban Spoon, you hit the I'm feeling lucky button or whatever it is, it spins, comes up with prices, food type, and something else, I don't remember. And then as soon as it lands on a selection without you even doing anything, it just orders food from that place.
We actually...
There's a site that that like picks a meal for you and is supposed to learn what you like, but it doesn't order.
There totally is, and this is totally unrelated, so I'm going to keep it super, super short. But I used to work at an app company, and one of the things that we built to see if it would be cool was exactly that, dude. And it would just pull from highest rated places. You gave it a price that you were willing to pay, and it would order something and just be like, you'll get some kind of food in the next hour.
Sweet.
No Android app, though.
I mean, actually, to be honest with you, that actually sounds much better than this. Because at least then it's like, I don't know what I want for dinner. Well, I don't know what I want for dinner. Well, let's just let this app choose for us. Click.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas this is just something else entirely.
I say that I don't know what I want for dinner, but then when I'm ordering online, I'm like extremely meticulous about what I'm ordering.
If you're ordering Domino's as often as this app thinks you are, then you have bigger problems. And with that, I think we can leave it be.
I'm guessing some of them are gastrointestinal. But it is Domino's is pretty good at marketing, though. I mean, you've got to admit this is very much a discussion starter kind of thing. I think it's pretty funny, but yeah,
it's funny.
Domino's is not very good. I mean, it's actually kind of bad.
No, it's
but
bad.
It's like, I can't remember the last time I had a Domino's pizza.
I would just
do a work organized lunch in quite a while, so it's been a while since I've had Domino's.
All right, so I would just like to point out so I don't know how many people remember this, but a few years ago, Domino's had advertisements where they talked about how much people hated Domino's pizza.
Yes.
And then they proceeded to release the new Domino's pizza, which was marginally better. And
it's not even marginally better. It's like worse in a different way.
I just think it takes a whole lot of gall to have an advertising campaign based on how bad your pizza used to be, and you can't even improve it to the point where people notice a difference.
Dude, I will say I was broke as hell at the time. I noticed a slight difference, but you're totally right. It was like an RPG skill tree where you had to remove something in order to make something.
I would say, if you want to get down to it, I would say it was a different. You moved between bread-flavored cardboard to butter-flavored cardboard, and then tomato-esque sauce to sugary tomato-esque sauce is kind of like the difference I felt was there. Not that I know a whole lot about Domino's rebranding efforts or anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
I do remember I wrote a whole blog post about their failure is an option ad campaign where they said they used like failure is an option as a guiding philosophy for chicken pizza.
Correct.
Oh, God.
Dude. It was a really good campaign. All right, I don't want to talk about it. Domino's has got enough free money from us on
Let's talk about
advertising
something
now.
else that is ridiculous.
Yes.
That's my segue.
The segue. So there's a companion app that released this week for the HTC Vive VR headset. So I'm guessing the part that David is referring to as ridiculous is that this app allows you to get your phone's notifications in VR.
I was gonna say the Vive's ridiculous, but
The Vive is ridiculous.
So this is an app that lets you get your notifications in VR. Some of them.
I'm excited about this because, as you may know, I'm like very fascinated by what mundane computing tasks will look like in VR.
Yeah.
So this is one step closer to that.
Computing, now 18% less mundane. Thanks,
I'm actually secretly hoping you're right about that, Liam, because I hope that winds up being the anchor that keeps us in IRL.
What, you mean like spreadsheets and stuff?
Yeah. Like the mundane things that we're gonna be like, oh, I'm not gonna put a VR headset on to do this, right?
But you might.
God, I don't want to.
I just want to know what it would be like. I am disappointed though that this didn't. When I first saw like companion Vive phone, whatever mixture of words my brain chose to look at, that it wasn't that like tiny phone that came with, what was it? The One Max or something.
HTC Mini Plus or something?
Like if that was a game all to itself, just like
Did that come with the butterfly? Was that the companion phone for the butterfly or some other phone?
Oh, it was something. I thought it was.
Does it come with a free peak? Oh, nothing? Peak? No. Okay, fine.
Wait.
Does not remember peaks?
I don't think I remember peaks.
It was a It was a device that was like around. What year would this have been? I want to say 2012 or no, 2010 or 2011. That was like to companion smartphones. As smartphones were coming out, we were getting overloaded. So all this device did was like just email and text message, and they killed it like a year later.
Okay. That sounds terrible.
It was awful.
Who made it?
The company is called Peak.
Huh. Okay.
I'm gonna link.
God, I don't remember that.
I think we should just use pagers.
Yeah, pagers probably would have been more useful than this device.
How is it spelled?
Peek. You have to Google Peak device to get any articles because their sites are all down.
Yeah. Peak. Okay, mobile internet device. Ooh, the logo is familiar to me.
But that's because it's a bad logo and it's familiar to you for all the wrong reasons.
That's probably true. Now I'm looking closer to the logo; it's very unfamiliar. So never mind. I've never heard of this, but it does look stupid, and I do like a good stupid thing now and again. So thank you for introducing me to this, Mark. I appreciate that.
I know plenty of stupid things. I can definitely help you out.
So we have. So okay, before we get to emails, so a bunch of you sent us your home screens, and we greatly appreciate this suffocating hug of content you provided, but we can only get some of them, and we're not 100% sure we're going to continue this segment, because I'm not sure how interesting it is to people who actually listen to the show, because we can't show you the home screen when, obviously, if you're listening on, a podcast app, you'd have to go to the website. So we will try it for a few more weeks and see what happens. If the response is, here's a great idea. If you're an audio-only listener of the show, tell us what you think of the home screen section, but don't submit your home screen. Well, you can, but if you are a person who listens to the show and you like the home screen section, the home screen thing where we talk about home screens, let us know. If you don't like it, let us know too.
What I'm hearing is David pouring poison into the coffee cup of the home screen section.
It's true, because I'm very afraid that this could alienate people, because it's such a visual thing.
Well, the other thing is, if you want to see it visually, let us know that too, right?
Yeah.
And I will be putting the home screens this week into the podcast post. I know I didn't do it last week, but I will do it this week.
Put the SVG code into the show notes, and then people can just put it in Sublime Text. And
so we actually got 10 home screen submissions this week, which is like overload. So we will cover 5 of them this week, and probably the other 5 next week. And then if there are any more, we'll discuss how we want to do that. And we also got a couple of emails this week too, so we'll go through those. So without further ado.
Yeah, so our first email is from Mark. Mark actually sent us a little bit of a lengthy email, so I'm not going to read the whole thing, but mainly he took to point something we said in episode 201 where we're talking about no advantage to using Google Wallet over other services like PayPal Wallet, and he points out that you can actually transfer money from Wallet to your bank account instantaneously as opposed to 2 to 3 business days, and also the ability to share money just by knowing a person's Gmail address. So I'll give them some credit. I think those are 2 valid points. The only downside to getting the money into your bank account is that means that somebody else had to use it to send it to you, which I don't know how much that goes on in the real world.
So somebody else had to use Wallet.
Right.
Yeah.
So Square Cash is much easier also, and also does the same thing.
And I also I actually had to lead the text. As I understand it, instant transfers cost money to the institution making the transfer. There's a commission usually, as I understand it, on this kind of stuff.
I know that Square Cash processes it as like a debit refund, so it like.
Right.
Okay, maybe that's.
I don't know if there's
I'm
a
not
fee
sure how
associated
Google
with that.
does it. Generally, in the world of finance, when money changes hands, somebody is taking a little bit of the money. So that's kind of probably where I would start to wonder whether or not this makes sense as business for Google. The 2 to 3 day thing is that's not a real delay. Whenever ACH is instant, it should be instant, but it's not, because they can invest that money through a third party for 2 to 3 days and get a little bit of a return
Right.
on an investment. And so that's why PayPal and other services take as long as they do. One that I've been using, Simple, takes like 5 days to do an ACH transfer, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Whereas PayPal takes 2, maybe 3 for me. So the longer they hold your money, it has nothing to do with like the complexities of finances. It's just how much money they want to make by
I
holding
feel like
your money.
people still think there's like some guy like Mr. Moneybags like running around with bag on his back like moving the money so that it gets to where it needs to go.
Yeah,
But no,
yeah.
it's actually quite simple.
It's going through the borders, everybody. They've got to look at the money, make sure it's money.
No, we figured out cholera. There's no Oregon Trail. It's pretty fast now.
Yeah.
Make sure it's money. I just imagine like somebody with a jeweler's loupe being like, yes, identifying money. It's money.
The money guy has a lot of money to get through today, guys. It's going to be a couple days. So yeah, yeah, it sucks that they're shutting it down, but I'm guessing Google looks at this and sees something that they can't make grow, and that continuing to operate costs them money. I'm sure it's not a huge amount, but some money, and that there's basically it will forever be a cost sink until they shut it down. That doesn't make it right, because they touted the service and they sold it to people and not like actually charged you money for it, but like they gave you the idea, and that sucks that they're taking it away, especially for the users who found a real use case in it. But at the same time, that's Google. They do that.
Totally. That's what they do. More wood, fewer arrows.
All right, so moving on to our next email. This email is actually a email/home screen combo from I'm going to say it Faisal, and if I mispronounce that terribly, I'm sorry. It says, hey AP, since they're fiddling with the notifications in N, is there any chance you guys could use your considerable influence to get Google to bring back the ticker in the status bar that got killed in L? I really like the ability to read the whole message without a box popping up. And,
So I think a lot of our readers overestimate the influence we have on Google.
Yeah, I'm not gonna like go to the Googleplex and give Sergey like
I'm just gonna
what do you
speed
call
dial
this, Indian
soon.
burn? That's what I learned growing up, but that seems inappropriate.
It's inappropriate, but it's still apt.
Yeah, like I'm not just gonna be like, you better put it back in there, Sergey.
Hey guys, I could really use some more powerful notifications. Let's go ahead and do that. That'd be great.
That'd be
Sincerely, David.
Didn't we post something about or somebody? I feel like Artem was complaining about the ticker. Did we post something about it at some point?
I don't know.
This is a thing that we've talked about before,
Yeah,
somewhere,
for sure.
even if it was just internal chat. But yeah, I don't think we can do that. So
I'm guessing that maybe at best, AP articles may be used as ammunition in a fight in a meeting.
yeah.
Somebody use this. Nuh-uh.
So the only thing I could think of that might give someone the impression is I seem to recall an article that was posted once where there was some type of an Easter egg posted in APK Teardown.
Oh yeah, there's a string that was like nothing to see here, officer. That was like pointed at us for teardowns.
Yes, so maybe that's how they think we have this influence.
And so Faisal also attached some home screens, and I have to say, Faisal, you bring shame upon our house with your home screens.
Although,
yeah, it's
there's
Faisal.
one good one in there.
There is one, the Facebook in a sea of Tinders.
Yeah. Can we show it on screen, please?
Oh, it's on my feed.
Can you present? Yeah.
I saw this and I was beside myself. I saw this like 5 minutes ago and I could not wait for us to get to it because this is the most brilliant mechanism to keep you off of Facebook that I have ever seen. For the audio listeners, it's an entire screen with Facebook just in the center, and every other icon in the grid is a Tinder icon.
It's like it's basically Minesweeper for Facebook.
Right.
I want to say though, if somebody could just like Photoshop out that Star Wars logo, then the wallpaper would be nice.
Yeah. You know what else? You could make Faisal. I have a suggestion for your home screen here. The one that does not bring shame upon our house. You change the Facebook icon to a Tinder icon and rename it Tinder, and then you randomize its location using some kind of script. I don't know, so that you have to click on a ton of Tinder icons to eventually get to Facebook. You
Oh,
never know where
wow.
it is.
That sounds great.
Yeah.
Wow. Overall, though, I think his home screens are pretty clean. Like it doesn't seem like he's I don't know. He uses some weirder stuff, but that's fine. Teach their own.
I think
It's so basic.
icon is so much smaller than eBay and Kindle. The greedy full canvas icons. We need the logo bigger.
I give this home
Ugh.
screen 2 out of 5 obvious branding references.
I give it a solid 3.2 out of 5.
I give it 24 out of 25 Tinder icons.
Wow.
High praise.
That's very
Alright.
high praise.
So our next home screen is from Dave from Bridlington.
Okay.
Dave.
Home screens.
I want to call out here. Is that an Android TV icon?
Yeah.
Yes, that is the Android TV remote app.
Wow.
Wow. True Nexus warrior here, unless it's a Shield, which you're probably a Nexus warrior anyway, if you own a Shield. So Dave has a Punisher wallpaper, which, you know what, I'm not digging this embossed,
No.
shaded, gradient Punisher logo. The
No.
Punisher should be flat white on
Yep.
flat black.
This looks like a belt buckle.
I would make it gray, actually, so that it doesn't blend in with the icon labels.
That's true, too. Liam bringing up an excellent design point here that you
I-
would probably want.
My primary question about this, I mean, it looks pretty standard, but my primary question is why there's Messenger and Hangouts in the dock. That's a lot. It's a
You
lot of
know,
messages.
I mean, because I don't use Hangouts for SMS at all because Hangouts is janky, but I do
Yeah.
use Hangouts for Hangouts, and I use Messenger for SMS. So I can understand where it's coming from. I do think that putting the phone icon on the far right is absolutely like you're demented as a person. Like, why is it over there? It should be on the left. It's always on the left.
Chrome and phone are reversed for me because I don't know. Yeah, I just have them that way. I guess, and also I've been living in Project Fi land for so long that I forgot that.
Okay, guys, hold on. I accidentally stopped
use Hangouts.
recording. I have no idea how even.
The question is, how long ago?
Not long ago. So let me just go ahead and start a new one and keep recording. I'll stitch them together in a way that kind of makes sense. We'll probably just end up skipping a home screen, which is okay. All right, we're good. Oy.
This next guy's got some interesting stuff going on here. He's on Action Launcher instead of Nova.
This is from Shrikant, and
Oh, and he's
Yeah.
also got some interesting faces here.
so okay, is this the far right here? Is that just the home screen? Like he?
Yes, it looks that way. I think he uses it to keep everything clean. He puts widgets in the drawer and apps on the left.
What's that overview icon?
The on the third image, you mean?
Oh, on
The
all
nav
of them
bar?
in the nav bar.
That is multitasking customized. So I'm guessing
That is customized.
probably on Cyanogen or some other custom ROM. So this, to me, that home screen with just the hamburger and then the widgetification button is like walking outside without pants.
Yeah, why didn't you put pants on?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, why?
It's very frightening to me, this home screen. I feel like I'm in the middle of the ocean and I can see nothing around me but water.
Maybe it's some sort of like a Buddhist thing, or like just some sort of a meditation thing, just to keep you clean and force you, just like Liam does, like mental confusion, moves his apps around. Maybe he forces himself to have to tap at least once to get to anything. It's an exercise in patience.
I can't go this far.
I would be seriously disappointed if this did not have the whole ripple effect like the old Samsung lock screens did. Like,
A ripple
if I
on
touch the screen, I would totally want a ripple effect.
Totally, it would make perfect sense.
I would seriously sit there and play with that until my battery died.
Probably.
And it's so
It would be even better if the little boat would bob up and down with the ripples.
Yes.
That would be
I
perfect.
think I give this 0 home screens out of 0 because all is 1 and we are 1 with nothing.
That's the best and the worst rating.
Yes.
I give this 3 out of 5 Legends of the Hidden App Drawer.
Wow. I don't know what I give it. I'm
I think that's also a fair answer, though.
I
the
don't know.
nav bar is really disturbing to me, I just have to say.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
nav
I
bar is
agree.
definitely a bit
The
odd.
triangle's pointy, and there's that overview button.
That is one of the weirdest things that I found in the G5. I'm going to mention that too. It gives you customization options for the nav bar that aren't remotely useful.
Oh yeah, was it the G4? One of them allowed you to make the nav bar look like a fluffy pink pillow.
Why? What?
Just because customization.
Okay. All right. All right.
Okay,
who's
our,
next?
our
Jay.
next screen is from Roderick. Or did I miss one?
I
That's
have G.
Roderick.
Oh,
Ron
sorry. My
Roderick.
bad. My bad. My bad.
Okay, our next
His
yeah, our
last
next
name
one is
is
from Roderick.
Gadea something. I don't know.
Oh, geez, Roderick.
Roderick sent us a lot of screenshots. He's very
Oh,
He
the
did. He
folders.
animated all of the folders of
Good
an
for
app.
him. Oh,
Which,
dude,
I mean, that's some dedication.
I can't wait until a viewer sends us an interactive PDF, like like an actual UI mock-up or like a Flinto or something, and then we can click through their home screens.
But, okay, the immediate thing I find discomforting about this home screen are folders in the launcher bar.
Yeah.
Like, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm out at that point. Like,
Actually,
I can't touch that.
I do that on tablets, but not on phones. That's too much on phones.
Same. Oh my God, Liam, same brain. I do it on tablets. It's perfectly fine, but on phones, it's just too much.
Yeah,
Right.
see, I have an email folder on mine because I use 3 different email clients depending on which email I'm checking, so I'm guilty.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. You people.
I keep it to 2, and I do a swipe. I'll swipe up on Hangouts or swipe up on something for stuff, but not
All right.
folders.
So I have to wonder, is his actual wallpaper that pixelated in real life? Or is it compressed and we're just not seeing the gradient like we should?
I golly hope it's just compressed.
Okay, Roderick, if your home screen is as pixelated as it looks to us, you got to change that home screen, buddy.
Yeah, let us know, man.
Uh,
We'll help you out. Give us a tweet. and
I don't
we'll
know,
help you find a
guys.
good one.
Because the pixelation is consistent between screens, like it moves with the home screen scrolling.
Oh, boy.
Oh no,
Which I wouldn't
really?
expect. Maybe it's a creative choice. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt
Okay,
here.
maybe we're dealing with somebody who's very, very... Maybe he built this wallpaper pixel by pixel.
There's a
Yeah.
notification icon that's given me some trouble.
The up and down?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Reddit. It's synced for Reddit, I think. I
No
have
way.
I have a problem with that one too.
Is that okay? Well,
Yeah.
I'll still use it anyways.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, they can't use snoo anymore, so that's what the icon used to be.
All right. So I would give this home screen 50%.
Wow, 50%. Wow. I think it's a very clear. I'm gonna give it 13 Zeists out of 16.
Give it a 9 on the JPEG compression scale.
Wow, that's pretty. Is that high or low on that scale?
It's not maximum, but it's also not low. So
Sure. Cool.
I
So
can't
pretty
get the
good.
other one. Okay, the other one is loading, and the next one is
So
from
this. Oh, we're on Jeremy.
Jared.
Oh, Jared.
James. There's a
Oh,
James.
James.
I
Okay.
lied. Okay, I opened the wrong one probably.
See, I thought we were on James because I was staring at this
Okay,
for about
we're on-
20
we're
minutes
on
because
James. It's
apparently-
James and Jared. We got 2 J's, and as you know, J names are very confusing.
is this a magic eye?
I was. You got me. You took my joke. You took my joke. You took it.
The AP podcast is on the screen and it's playing right now
All
while we're
right.
looking at it.
I'm sorry, James. This wallpaper is eye cancer. Like,
It's really bad.
it is brutal. Do you put on polarized glasses and look at this?
Oh god, I
It's
hope
like-
so.
The surface
Oh my
of
God.
the moon that we're looking at.
It must, because it has to be, because it's the red and the blue. I wonder if you put on 3D glasses if you can see something.
Yeah, it might just
We-
be a 3D picture of the moon.
We need to save this and come back next week with 3D goggles.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Either
It looks
way,
like, the black cutoff at the top. It looks like one of those panoramas that NASA publishes sometimes.
Right.
Also, your home screen is like a coffee table with 2 years of magazines on top of it. It
Yeah,
is.
dude.
But
It
also
is
some
like-
informational pamphlets and junk mail and
Yeah. There's some bills in there,
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Ooh,
a
this
DVD
is
that you never returned to Blockbuster before it closed years ago.
the bill for said DVD asking
James
for
is also
$50
still
for a
using some
copy of Die
services.
Hard.
These services are still very like I see Wunderlist, which I loved in 2011, but it never really it never changed, and it's just been the same thing forever. And I feel like, wow, Wunderlist, really? I mean, I got to give this a solid 12 baby boomers out of the 50s.
I give this 7 hoarding grandmas out of 10.
I give this whatever the capacity of your coffee table is minus 3 pounds. That's how close it is to collapsing.
Oh man.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
Should we do one more, or
Yes, we have one more from Jared here, and then we'll go ahead and call it the day. I know there are some more of you. There are 5 more of you, and we will hopefully get to you next week. We will get to you, assuming we will do the section again next week, so we'll get to you. And whose names I can reassure: Corey, Gavin, Ryan, and Christopher,
Can I just say
Okay.
that
and
Jared
Thomas. I forgot Thomas.
Jared is like Google's dream user, not because of all the Google icons on the home screen, but because there's a reminder shortcut on the home screen, and Google has tried every way that it knows how to get people to use reminders.
Oh my God.
Right.
I need a reminder to use reminders.
I use the hell out of them.
Look no further than Inbox because it will tell you at every turn, please, for God's sake, set a reminder.
Yep.
Ask me to remind you of something. Oh.
I just use it
So-
in Google Voice in Google Now all the time. It's super
So,
helpful.
ignoring what looks to be a Blood Elf wallpaper from World of Warcraft, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not 100% sure on what's going on here. Ignoring that, this is pretty standard. This again with the dialer on the right. What's with
Yeah.
you people?
But
Yeah.
Why is
this
it there?
this pointed out to me that our first home screen tonight did not have the camera in the dock. Where was the camera?
I don't know.
I actually leave the camera out of my dock as well.
Oh my God, that's
No
disturbing.
camera in my dock.
I
Maybe-
never.
Okay, you know what the thing is? If you have a Galaxy phone, double
Exactly.
tap the home button.
Double tap the power button on Nexus, but there's a bug and it screws up the camera. So
Yeah,
never
and
mind.
it relocks. Exactly, it relocks
Double
the
tap
phone.
the power button and sigh in despair.
Yeah.
So the only thing that I do is I leave my Reddit icon, my sync for Reddit icon. That's a swipe to the camera. So if I swipe on it, I can still get to the camera. So I still have access to
Why?
it.
Mark, why?
Really, just in case I find myself in a situation like you just said, because I switch devices so much. So
just
on the
can't-
Nexus, that shortcut doesn't work. And if I've already unlocked the device, I can just go home and swipe instead of
I just
tapping
can't
on the camera.
imagine swiping Reddit to get to the camera though. Like, okay, I swiped the camera to get to
random choice.
Snapchat because those two are kind of like both cameras,
Right.
but Reddit.
It
it's-
only makes sense for me, not because of the icon attachment. It makes sense for me because of the placement. I replaced where the camera was with
Uh-huh.
the sync icon.
I see.
So my thumb is used to that.
So you're not like posting pictures to Reddit all the time.
No,
It's
that's
just-
not the
where it used to
connection.
be.
That's just where my thumb is.
That's
So
blowing my mind.
yeah, aside from the wallpaper, and the clock widget, off-center clock widgets annoy me even more than usual.
God, the
Um,
clock.
It's because
Well,
of
you
the picture
can't
though,
cover
right?
up the blood elf.
Yeah.
so don't cover it with anything.
This is how I use Android. Like to me,
Mark
Android
is
is
pushing
like
for naked blood elves.
it's Android. My home screen is like like if I lived in my bed and never left, I would just keep everything I needed within reach, and just who cares? Just put the damn icons you use on the stupid home screen and live with it. And this is how I arrange my Android device experience. It's like, these are the icons I use. They go on the home screen because of course they do.
Oh my
So
god.
I give this home screen arrangement, I don't know. I'm going to have to think of a metric here. 8 out of 10 typical users.
I give it 12 out of 19. Points are deducted because, well, the aforementioned points, and it's also the time on the clock. And there are 2 orange icons next to each other that are, like, not the same.
Oh, that is true. That would annoy me. I would move them.
Okay, so
But
the proper
then-
arrangement should be that they should have the keep icon, then the audible icon, then the play music icon, and then the sleep cycle icon.
I would actually, what I would do is I would put all the orange icons in a row. So put keep on top
Yeah.
and then play music in the top left.
Yes,
Mhm.
but
Actually-
then you would have to find a 5th one to complete the row.
It would go sleep cycle, play music, audible, and then keep, and then Snapchat, I
Yep.
think.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
Actually, I like Clash of Clans. Is okay there. He's got kind of orangey, goldy hair. It's whatever.
Sort
that
of.
Could be, that could be your transition into the red category,
It
which
could be.
includes play movies.
Or
and
you could just put
podcasts.
Snapchat up there and just make it the full yellow
Yeah,
to
just
orange cycle.
call it a
Oh,
day.
could you arrange them by like the colors and the letters of Google?
Oh,
wait, are they? They they almost are. He's kind of close. So he starts with blue and then goes to red and then goes to gold-ish orange, but he should have a blue one after
Yeah.
that. Facebook, and then after that a green one, Hangouts, and
Yeah.
then a red one, Pocket Cast.
You could
There
totally
you
do it.
go.
I like it. Not bad. I think
You just
overall,
default to your home screen. It's fixed.
overall, you're pretty right, David. This is like a pretty solid home screen. I think I gotta give it like 7 mana crystals out of 10 because that's where you get to really playing the cool stuff in Hearthstone.
Okay, so the other thing though, your second home screen, like this calendar widget, like this is the wall calendar I bought 3 years ago and then never used. Like it's so small, you're not gonna get
Like-
any this calendar.
Yeah.
Why is
Like,
it
this
there?
this is one of those like calendars that's like this big that you're supposed to have on your desk, but somebody at like an auto repair shop hung on the wall and they like scribbled some things on it that don't really relate to anything anymore.
I want to point something out to you, though. You got to remember, the only 2 things on this calendar are 2 reminders, and this is the gentleman with the reminder shortcut
Also-
on the home screen.
Also,
So
one of
this
the
is just
reminders
a reminder
just-
widget for him.
yeah, one of the reminders just says chemicals. Like, what are you doing?
Jared, do not forget about your chemicals. Friday, April 8th at 8 a.m. The chemicals are really, really important.
Very important.
Don't
Super
forget.
important. Maybe he cleans pools.
Maybe.
Doesn't want to forget his chemicals.
I just
Alright,
think
and
it's
then-
very
then there's
Maybe he's a
maybe
chemist.
Weather widget, which at this size to me is useless.
Yeah. News
The
and
weather
weather is
widget?
not.
I think that's a decent size. I mean, you get 3 stories, you get 2 days of weather.
I just think this is also an ancient design language for Google, so I don't like to use it.
Yeah, isn't that is still the news and weather widget though?
It is.
Yeah.
The app looks
Yeah.
much more inside than the widget looks outside.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Very
it's
much.
great. So as I said, for the rest of you who submitted home screens, we still have them. We will transfer them over to the spreadsheet for next week. We'll cover them, and I will put the home screens. If you are listening to the audio show right now, which of course you probably are, why am I even asking why you're listening to it? The home screens, if you go to androidpolice.com and you go to the podcast category, you'll see this week's episode in a post, and all the home screens will be in there. And so you can follow along. They will be in the order they appeared in the show. I will try to link to them in the description of the podcast episode and host them somewhere, but that seems less than optimal. So, yeah.
If you don't, I'm going to bother you about it.
I just want to point out that we have G strings next to Bible, and I like that.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Mary Magdalene likes it too.
All right. So yeah, that's gonna do it for our home screens this week. If you didn't see your home screen or hear about your home screen on the show, we will get to it next week. Yeah. Go
Sorry,
ahead.
somebody in the chat, Arathcone, just posted a Google Photos album. That's a pretty good idea, right?
I actually don't like Google Photos albums because they kind of take forever to load, and then if you revoke
Well-
permission to make them public and stuff, and it just gets messy.
Okay. Fine.
Fine.
They're fast.
Fine.
Hey, you Google file, take it easy over there.
They're fast and easy. Make a reminder to make a Google Photos album.
Yes. Yeah, we actually did. Somebody shared a Google Photos album with us once for the Antiques Roadshow, and it expired, and we couldn't even show the pictures on the show. It was very sad.
Yeah, it was.
Very
Very,
sad.
very sad.
All right, so yeah, like I said, anybody who sent one in, if we haven't gotten to it yet, we will get to it in the near future. So look forward to that. In the meantime, if you have any questions or comments or even more home screens you'd like to send in to us, you can send it to us at podcast@androidpolice.com. You can also give us a call with your questions at 530-HELLO-AP. That is 530-435-5627. And you can also find us on Twitter at Android Police and on Google Plus and Facebook.
I don't know how I stopped recording in the middle. I think my laptop went to sleep and it stopped, but it was very brief. It had to be within like 2 minutes of whenever it stopped that I noticed it. So might have missed some of that valuable home screen discussion, but nothing else.
The value.
So much value. I really like the section, but yeah, translating into an audio show, I mean, it's kind of like you can visually narrate what the home screen looks like, but I mean, that's kind of like trying to describe a painting.
So
I actually
David,
loved the idea of narrating it.
I'm gonna do this. Here's what I'd like to do. I wanna while everybody's here, I wanna post on, or we can just use some of these submissions actually. I wanna produce a video of it for the channel, and we can actually, that can be another series, is a home screen roast, and I can do it the same way as I did the What's on My Phone, where you can see the entire device, and what people can do is instead of sending us just their home screens, they can send us their Nova backups as well, or backups for whatever it is, so that we can actually play with it if we want to.
I feel like that'd be pretty hard to do.
I can make it work. Like, if they want to send it, if it's an option. Like, they don't have to, but worst case scenario, I can show on screen the screenshots, and it'll be much easier to get that across. Like, I think that would be hysterical. I think that'd be really good.
We'll see if this continues to do well on the show, but yeah. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop the broadcast.